20 to 30% of adolescents report symptoms of depression. 45% say that they feel stressed all the time. The lockdown over the past 2 years caused by COVID-19 has taken a great toll on mental health worldwide, but arguably no one has been hit harder than adolescents. As adolescents ourselves, we were compelled to research the impact of COVID-19 on mental health, specifically its seemingly amplified negative impact on adolescents. This video aims to explain the role COVID-19 has had on mental health and what we can do to improve our own mental well-being. Teen depression and anxiety are already at an all-time high, even before COVID hit. This is due to factors such as academics, peer pressure, and a negative living environment. But how and why did the pandemic outbreak cause these rates to skyrocket?
During the first year of the pandemic, the World Health Organization calculated a 25% increase in depression and anxiety rates worldwide. This drastic jump was mainly caused by multiple stress-inducing factors, ranging from isolation to fear of infection. The report by the WHO also stated that younger people were more vulnerable to suicidal and self-harming thoughts. Out of the surveyed 8,444 adolescents between the ages of 13 and 29, 15% claimed to be suffering from depression, and a further 27% claimed to be suffering from anxiety. Furthermore, 1 in 2 children felt less motivated to participate in an activity that they previously enjoyed due to the pandemic. However, this all seemed a bit arbitrary. At our school, most of our students appeared to not show signs of depression or anxiety, which didn't really change with the pandemic. But was this really clear?
We decided to interview a variety of students to see their perspectives on the pandemic, primarily focusing on anxiety, depression, and stress levels during the lockdown. We asked them a series of questions relating to these issues and received varying responses. Some students wished to remain anonymous, so we have instead created a voiceover to protect their privacy.
Okay, hi, I'm Donna and I'm in 9th grade and I'm currently 15 years old.
Hello, I'm Nathan and I'm currently a freshman here at HKS.
Hi, my name is Sydney Chen. I'm a 9th grader and I am 15 years old.
How has the pandemic impacted you and your mental health?
I think because of the pandemic, I couldn't go outside and I had to stay home, so I didn't really get to see anyone. And I guess that kind of impacted my mental health. Like, I couldn't socialize with people like how I would have done if it wasn't for the pandemic.
The pandemic has tremendously impacted me and my mental health by bringing a lot of stress and anxiety in my life. I would say that the specific aspect of the pandemic that caused this was the lack of social connection with my peers and my teachers. It was hard to be focused and keep being motivated about school.
Mental health-wise, I think the pandemic has caused me some anxiety because of how uncertain everything is.
Is there a specific aspect of the pandemic that has caused an increase in stress, anxiety, or depression?
I just felt quite alone a lot of the times, while still having to keep up with the stresses of my academic life. I thought I lost motivation multiple times, so it was quite challenging.
In this year, I think there were several changes in my life. For instance, I'm going to be leaving Hong Kong, and because of the pandemic, it has made things worse because of how many changes there were, how many times I've had to adapt to changes. I think that these have caused me overall anxiety.
How are you coping with this?
I guess I called a lot of people and I tried to maintain a close relationship with my friends so that we don't drift away. And I guess that was pretty helpful.
Well, I think one thing that's kept me going would probably be just knowing that everyone's going through the same situation, so I'm not entirely alone, as well as how I know that this whole situation will come to an end sooner or later, even though it's really challenging at the moment.
In the 2 years of the pandemic, I coped through this by doing things I loved. For example, dancing, sewing, baking, knitting. And that just helped me distract myself and then get into focus again.
I've been coping with this by talking to my friends about it, and sometimes they would comfort me, or sometimes I would talk to my therapist about it. She would give me some tips, or I would hang out with my friends when COVID wasn't that bad.
Is there an aspect of the pandemic that you enjoy?
I think because of the pandemic, I got to spend more time with my family since we're all at home. And I guess that's the only good part of the pandemic that I can think of.
I think similar to a lot of others would be that I got to spend more time with those who are closest around me, because I feel usually in my normal everyday life when I go to school, I tend to ignore them a bit when I actually want to spend more time with them. And I think the pandemic has allowed me to do so.
Overall, though, I would say that the best thing about the pandemic was that I had a lot of free time. I was able to do things I love while also doing school at the same time.
I did not have the best experience during the pandemic, but I also think there were some pros to it, because when COVID measures weren't that tight, I could hang out with my friends and spend more time with them, especially since I'll be leaving at the end of the school year. So I think that it's good to spend some extra time with them, and I think the pandemic also helped me mature faster and also taught me how to manage my own time properly and how to use my time wisely.
After interviewing a few students, we gained insight into people's lives during the pandemic. This made us realize that things need to be done because mental health is such a prevalent issue, especially in these times. Before we ended our interviews, we decided to ask our interviewees one last question.
If you were to change something about how schools handle mental health, then what would you change?
Okay, this is actually a pretty hard one. Okay, if I had to change something, then I would have the school maybe conduct more like anonymous surveys. Not really like a well-being check-in, but maybe like not a mandatory one, but like a voluntary one that you can submit like anonymous like stories or like how you're doing, so that like people don't know it's you, but you can still like share your stories and feel like you're being heard and like listened to.
I would hope that like teachers in general could be a bit more lenient when it comes to deadlines on different assignments, because I feel like although some students might have procrastinated, I think a lot of students wanted like extensions on their assignments, simply because it's quite challenging to do the same amount of work while having less motivation during the pandemic.
Something different about the counseling department in high school compared to middle school would be that in high school the counseling department really focuses more on academics, but in middle school the counselors were really there for mental and emotional support. So I think it would be nice if more of those resources could be provided by the school so that students in need would know where to go.
Through data gathered from both interviews and an anonymous survey we sent out, we realized that mental health is a bigger issue at HKS than we originally thought. We wanted to take action to reduce the amount of stress or anxiety that people feel, while simultaneously raising awareness for such a severe issue. Therefore, we decided to use one of our social media platforms to create an account that provides daily tips and statistics to combat the major issues that exist within millions of adolescents. We hope that this can aid students who feel anxious or stressed. Although spending excessive amounts of time alone in isolation can take a toll on mental health and provoke loneliness, it is okay to feel this way, as millions of others are going through the same experiences as well. Psychology research shows that showing gratitude is consistently associated with greater happiness, ultimately improving the health of others and yourself. Try writing a letter or expressing your gratitude towards a friend or loved one next time you feel down, as it will not only help you but boost the emotions of many others around you.